Here we go. Episode 3 of season 2 of the Run the Tibby podcast. I am your host, Steven Diaz. I am here with your other host, TJ Thibodeau, aka DJ D-Rex Godson, and your other host, Harry Hazen, aka Purple Haze, aka Slow Class is Better Than No Class. And we are playing a game today. It's going to be Overtaught, Undertaught, and taught enough. And we each came up with 3 skills, and each person is going to present their 3 skills, and we are going to debate which topic, which skill goes into which category. So, Harry, Purple Haze, do you want to start with presenting your 3 skills?
DJ T-Rex Godson.
That
Crazy.
was good.
All right. Yeah, that was amazing. You've set the bar really high. All right. So, overtaught, undertaught, taught enough. My 3 skills are the triple threat. That is 1. The hostage dribble is number 2. And shot hezzies, like an off the dribble shot fake, is my number 3. So I'll let you guys, I guess, debate.
Tibbs, do you want to
Yeah, I'll jump
present
in.
some opinions?
Sure, I'll jump in. Triple threat for me. Overtaught. Taught way too much. Stop teaching it. Unless you're Carmelo Anthony's actual son, who might be DJ D-Rex Godson. I don't think you should be teaching the triple threat as much as it's being taught and how it's being taught. I think it's pretty outdated. I understand triple threat position, but I don't think we need a master class on triple threat. Hostage dribble, that's a tough one for me, especially coaching at the college level and the frequency of pick and rolls I see. But I'm going to say that it is undertaught. It is undertaught. I don't feel like I see it enough in general. And I feel like when people have an advantage on the pick and roll, that they kind of time themselves out by not holding their advantage. And the hostage is like an easy way to slow down your decision making. So I don't see it enough in all levels of basketball and even in college basketball necessarily, or executed enough, I should say. And shot hezzies, y'all know how I feel about this. That joint is severely overtaught. You go keep hezzying off your shot. I looked you up. You shoot 20% for 3. I'm gonna look at you like this.
But you gotta fit it into one, no? Isn't that the rules?
Yeah.
Gotta say triple threat or shot hezzy is taught enough.
Oh,
So which is
so
more overtaught?
No, shot
What's in the
hezzy is
middle?
overtaught. Shot hezzy is overtaught, and triple threat is taught enough. So I'd definitely go with that because all the shot hezzies that I'm seeing, all these hezzy combinations, way overtaught for me. So, Steven?
I think I'm going to switch the overtaught and the undertaught. I think hot hezzies, shot hezzies are undertaught, and I think that if they were taught properly and taught more, they're more useful. In you're going to see a situation where you can use a shot hezzy more often than you're going to see a situation where you use a hostage. So I think that's why a hostage is overtaught because of. Am I lagging on your computer? I'm lagging on mine.
Your audio isn't, so whatever.
Okay. I think
Keep going.
shot hezzies are undertaught because they can be used in more situations, and you're going to run into a situation where you can use a hostage less. But I think triple threat is taught just enough.
So I agree with the Diaz answer that shot hezzies are, I think the key phrase you use that I don't know if this like counts as far as the game we're playing goes, but taught properly is a big portion of that, because I think what Tibbs is getting at is you see all the TikToks and Instagram reels of Steph Curry, Kyrie, like all the crazy. Okay, here we go. All of the. How am I supposed to talk while this is happening? But if you're teaching someone like 6 between the legs, yo, stop. You have to stop. If you're teaching someone like 6 between the legs dribble size ups into like a head fake, and like, no, the head fake should be the point of emphasis and literally the only thing you're teaching. And as far as your point of, if you can't shoot, it doesn't matter. Like if I know you're a 20% 3-point shooter, you look at a kid like Ronaldo Segu, who literally, I don't think you could name someone who has a better head fake than him. I mean, he's definitely in like that top tier of guys that have a head fake in their game, and he can't shoot. Couldn't shoot in high school, still can't shoot, and it still works. So obviously, Steph Curry's head fake is going to work more because he can shoot better than anybody ever. But the move still gets you from point A to point B, whether that's a thing or not. So that's why I would agree that it's an undertaught thing. I think hostaging is overtaught just for the simple fact that if you're gonna take like the population of how many basketball players there are in the world, there's not a lot of NBA players. There's even less college players, and there's a million times more high school through, elementary school kids. And that's how, like, most of the videos you see coming out are people teaching hostages to that level of kids, and they're never going to get to use a hostage because they're never being guarded in a ball screen in a way that's going to allow you to use a hostage. So
do you think it's appropriate in today's times to name something the hostage dribble, or do you think that it's not politically correct?
Yo, before that, do you know what it was before the hostage dribble?
What was it?
Put him in jail.
Put him in jail.
Nah, son. Nah. I'm sorry, I can safely say that we are not doing that.
So
we are not doing that. I'm good.
So whether you want to name it a new thing or not, I just think you're like, again, the situations you're going to see a hostage are really only exclusive to like the highest level of basketball, So unless you're working with someone like that.
What is the lowest level of the highest level of basketball?
Division III basketball.
So college basketball?
Yeah. Like unless it's someone who's 18 years old or older in a college or professional environment, there's no.
So these elite high school schools, top 25 high schools.
All right. So and again, I said this in another pod and I still have to finish this video. I made a thing of I want to put out a YouTube video on why I think hostaging is overtaught. So I looked up like all the best point guards in the 2020 class and like all their pick and roll possessions in their last season of AAU. And there's literally like 2 hostages. To further that point, there was only 2 situations I saw where there was even an ability to hostage somebody, because everything is a switch.
Yes,
or
I was
a
going to say
double.
there's a lot of switching and aggressive doubling in AAU basketball games.
Yeah. So like when RJ Davis or Sharif Cooper comes off a ball screen and they're just immediately switching, how am I going to tell that kid, yo, you should add the hostage to your game? Because at your current highest level, which is the EYBL, you're never getting the opportunity to do that. So why would you waste your spring reps on working towards that?
Well, we talked about this on the last pod. For me, it's about exposure versus application, because you're going, although the EYBL, right, and all those top leagues, Adidas and Under Armour, are high levels of talent. You have varying levels of the talent playing together, practice time. It's just not conducive to doing all these different coverages. And you have a game at 1:00 and you have a game at 7:30. Like, how much are you going to change your coverage from game to game? But in high school, you have 2 or 3 days to prepare, and same in college. So you could change your coverage. And also you just have there's just more big men in like college. And especially those levels that they're going to, there's more big men that can do different things. So Evan Mobley, Isaiah Mobley, I just use them because they're two freak athletes, right? They can literally play any single pick and roll coverage you want them to play. But you're only going against the Mobleys when you play Compton Magic. You know what I mean? So like, although these teams, it's just so much really good guard and wing play. There's a lot of good bigs, don't get me wrong, but they're sprinkled so thinly because it's just one age group. But in college, in theory, you have 4 to 5 age groups playing together. So you have a plethora of big men. So you might not see it in your age group or at the skill level that you're playing at, high school, depending. But I think it is, something that should be applied potentially in college. So I think you should expose those. Now, listen, Sharif Cooper, RJ Davis, they're special, right? But I don't think a hostage dribble would hurt them learning, even though they might not ever have to use it one time in their high school career. I don't think it hurts to learn that, when a situation comes and the speed of the game is just way quicker and spacing is just smaller, and they're playing against, a senior, a 6'9", 6'10" senior that has been hedging a ball screen or been playing drop coverage for 4 years.
Can I ask a question? Do you think that 2-on-0 pick and roll, if I'm working on 2-on-0 pick and roll, do you think me coming off the screen and fake holding a hostage is a good effective drill to work on hostaging?
No, but
I think
I
you
will
need
say,
a person there.
You do. You need, because the hardest thing is holding somebody on your back and having that feel of like kind of peeking over your shoulder, having a feel for where they are to create space next. Like, are they trying to get around me on the inside or are they trying to get around me on the outside? And then reacting to keeping the ball in the middle of your body. A lot of people come off and just have the ball on the side, and that's how you get back tapped a lot. But I will say, for experienced people, I can see how that could make sense. If you're really experienced at doing a hostage, you're coming off and you're just getting some because the biggest thing about 2-on-0, I know we talked about this, but 2-0 pick and roll is that the ball handler and the roll man needs to be on a string. So the ball handler controls that string because are you coming off with pace? Are you coming off just rocketing to the rim? Like the big man has to be able, they have to have these subtle, they have to be connected. So the more
can I ask a question about a word that you just said? What does coming off with pace mean? Does that mean just literally like looking to pass the ball maybe?
No. To me, first of all, it starts before you even use the screen, right? So it's literally not just playing from one speed from, okay, let's just say they're not going to reject at all. And you're in point A and point B is the screen. So and point C is the rim or wherever your last place you're going to stop to make a pass or whatever. If you go from A to B to C at one speed, there's no pace there. So there needs to be from A to B, there needs to be some sort of change of speed. And then from B to C, there needs to be another change of speed. Even if from B to C, you're going straight to the rim and it's not wide open, but there needs to be some sort of slowing down at the rim because you can't go 100 miles at the rim and then lay it up contested because most of the time you're not going to have the touch to finish around the rim, considering that you're going to finish around a bigger, athletic big and you're a smaller guy. So you even need to slow down at the rim at least a little bit to finish. So that's what I mean by pace, and it just looks different from everybody. But usually younger guards just use the pick and roll to launch themselves into something else and don't have the ability to slow down. Trey Burke, I think the hostage dribble became very popular when Trey Burke was at Michigan, and he was National Player of the Year, and all he did was hold people on his back. Now, other people on his team, Nick Stauskas, Glenn Robinson,
Karis LeVert.
Karis was on that team. Tim Hardaway Jr. I forget the guy. the little white kid. Tough.
Spike
Ulbrich. Spike Ulbrich, right? He had a great championship game the first half. But those guys all were clearly taught by Beeline how to hostage. It was clearly something that was very emphasized in practice. But Trey Burke being both the combination of that, he got the most pick and rolls, and he was just the best at it, probably some sort of connection there, was he really, put the hostage in the light, and he was really great at it. Now, does he do it as much in the NBA? It's still in his game, but it's just it's different. In college, he was the master at that, the master, and he would get Mitch McGarry and Lil Horford, Al Horford's brother. Forget his name.
Lil Horford.
He would get him. He ain't so little, but they would get him them open shots all the time. But yeah, so I was talking real long, didn't it?
I just want to say one last thing to put the hostage conversation to rest, is that just another thing I was kind of noticing watching that same crew of high school guys and how they operated was that there's really not a lot of opportunities to hostage in high school because there's not that big amount of spacing that exists at the other levels. So if you hostage somebody at the elbow, the other guy that's guarding the opposite wing or slot, they can just sit at the elbow, and then in 2 steps, they're contesting the guy that's at the 3-point line. Whereas in the NBA, that guy can't do that. He can't be in the paint because you're just leaving a guy wide open. So that is kind of why I just don't think, again, if you want to go the angle of, yeah, I'm working on a hostage because that's what I'm going to see a lot of in college next year, and I want to be prepared for that. That's one thing. But if you're in 7th through 10th grade and you haven't
doing 2-on-0 pick and rolls,
right? And you haven't earned a scholarship yet. You still have to prove yourself at your current level. You have to play well right now. I don't think constantly working on a hostage is going to do that for you. And then triple threat for me just lands in the middle because I'm a little more passionate about the other 2 answers.
So if I'm in 9th grade and I have interest from schools, can I work on the hostage?
Here we go with that curse word again.
So if your interest is high major, absolutely. But if your interest is only from, I'm kidding. No. Whoever wants to go next.
Go ahead, Tibbs. You want to go?
All right. So for my 3, I have for overtaught, undertaught, taught enough. I have closeouts, combo moves, and shot fakes.
Like pump fakes.
Yes, anything that involves a pump fake from anywhere on the court.
Harry, you want to go? Go ahead.
I'm torn on 2 of them, so you should go first because
I think that closeouts are all right. We're gonna start with the easy one. I think combo moves are overtaught.
yeah, that's the one that's the.
I think that's the easy one. I think closeouts. I keep misinterpreting undertaught as not taught properly.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think
that applies. That applies.
That can apply.
Because are you actually teaching something if it's not being taught properly?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say
with that. I'm with that.
That's actually really good.
I'm gonna say.
Wait, hold on. You've been on this podcast for 13 episodes, and that was your only contribution to the podcast so far.
Bro, Kodak White yesterday was my best contribution.
DJ D-Rex Godson is possibly the biggest contribution anyone's made.
All right, I'm gonna say closeouts are undertaught, and I don't even know where do shot fakes even fall into this?
So for me, I just want to explain where I'm coming from. I don't know if I should explain where I'm coming from right now, but
No, not yet.
Okay. All right.
I think
so
shot fakes are on the spectrum in between undertaught and taught enough. I think they're somewhere on that line in between that.
yeah, so I think to the shot fake portion, if I'm talking about a catch and shoot pump fake, I also agree in terms of properly taught, making it undertaught, because nobody ever pump fakes with their knees bent and the ball like over their head. I just think that's like a ridiculous way to teach people to do a pump fake, but that's how I was taught, and that's how everyone that I know mostly still teaches how to do a pump fake, and that's just, it puts you in a position where you can't even move. So if the defender doesn't actually jump, one, you're done. But two, that also doesn't look like someone shooting. It looks like you're pump faking. So that's kind of where I think that's an improperly taught thing. Combo moves, I think, are just like they're just like, why? Like if you're going into a workout and it's like, yo, we're gonna work on a crossover between the legs behind the back wrap, like that's like the combo that you're working on. It's like, why? There's so many more effective, more consistent ways to go by somebody than doing that. Like, why don't you just teach someone how to go by somebody with whatever your move of choice for that day is? Granted, it's an entirely different thing if you're just saying, yo, in our 15 minutes to start the workout, we're just gonna like overtrain your ball handling and do like a bunch of really difficult stuff to push that. And like, okay, but more often than not, that's like not what I'm seeing. You're seeing that into like a counter, into a shot that's just like, at this point, you're,
Can I ask you a question?
yeah.
How do you feel about combo moves using two balls?
Huh?
Like as a ball handling warm up, or
You're always
like,
taking it there. Like
No, that's
two ball
wait,
combo
up here.
moves.
Stationary, moving.
Either.
I'm all in on that.
Oh, moving combo moves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like in and out crossover with two basketballs. I'm lost.
Yes.
I gotta explain this.
Yes. Yes.
So like
Moving?
so through the legs
Yes.
cross with two balls.
I have had people do that, through the legs, like a
Come
Tim
on,
Hardaway with
come
two
on.
basketballs.
No, bro.
I'm talking about just in the ball handling part, like just that. There's no basket involved. Zero.
Yo, you're moving, and
Yes.
you're dribbling two basketballs, and with one basketball, you're between the leg crossover.
Mm-hmm.
What? Why?
Because it improves your ball handling. What do you mean why?
How?
It's the same reason. Okay, so you tell me. Answer this question, and then we'll move from there. Why do people do two ball dribbling?
I don't know why. It's a great question.
So
You don't like two ball?
So you don't like two ball stuff at all?
I'm not saying I don't like it. I think there's a purpose for it.
What do you think that purpose is?
Like ball control, strengthening your forearms, like really pounding the basketball. You know, I'm not a huge fan. I mean, it's definitely a piece of what you should be doing. But I think you can get away with stuff without doing it.
So here's
Like,
my answer to you.
I don't think it's necessary.
If the answer that you first gave was ball control, right? If my normal with one ball, Tim Hardaway between the legs cross was difficult for me to pull off, like, and I'm sure we've all seen and been in the position when we were younger, like you lose the ball on a between the legs cross at some point in that move. Like that happens to kids a lot.
Yeah.
If you're doing that with two basketballs, maybe.
Oh shit! I lost this ball. I'm just gonna grab this ball mid move.
No, but when you get to the point that you're not losing both basketballs with one ball, it's mad easy.
He's tight.
Of course I'm tight, because you're just egging it on for no reason. We don't even have an argument.
Nah, man. This is my thing. If one ball pound is great, stationary, moving, then two balls, you're just saving some time, bro. Like that's how I feel.
Wow.
I'm not really jacking. And mind you, this is coming from experience. I'm not saying I'm right. This is just how I feel. Because when I played back in my day, when I played
back in 2009.
Sure, I was playing in 2009.
Yeah, I wasn't making that date up.
But back in my day, I literally rarely used two balls to work out. Rarely. So, and I was not somebody who could do all these, like, I look at kids now, and I even now, like, there were people who worked out around me that could do all these pound, dribble, cross stuff. And, like, not that I couldn't do it, but I definitely couldn't do it as well as people who practice that. But I was getting wherever I wanted to on the court, and you weren't taking the ball from me. So, like, I didn't classify my handle as, like, flashy. I'm not saying that's flashy, but I see people have the ability to do that. And this is a whole bigger conversation. But people have the ability to do that, and then you put them on a basketball court, and they can't get from point A to point B effectively. But and give them some space and give them time to dribble, they can do stuff that I can't do. But being effective and just getting a step advantage or half a step advantage, they don't know, they can't do it. So
that's their fault.
No. I agree. I would have loved to, and later after I actually graduated college, shout out to Greg Siv, we actually started an hour every day, 5 days a week. We started going to the park and only doing ball handling. So I started doing those things I've never done in my life when I was preparing to try to be a pro, right? I was doing stuff I never did before. 2 basketballs, catching the tennis balls, all that stuff that I didn't believe in. But I was like, yo, let me do this for an hour every day. And I'm not going to lie, my handle got a lot better. You understand what I'm saying? But I think if I had to learn it, I feel like it's being taught in reverse now. Like, let's do these things. And then there's less of an emphasis on how do I actually use the handle skill that I have to actually get an advantage. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm just not a huge fan of that because maybe I'm just feel like it's not taught appropriately. And people think that because they can do all those things and it's amazing. I see 3rd graders, 4th graders that can do it better than me right now. Like, they can really do it well. And then they get older and they just can't navigate. They don't have great handle. They can dribble the ball really well, you know? So that's where that comes from. I don't think it's right or wrong. I would love to, I think I had this conversation with Steve because we started practice doing ball handling. And I'm always trying to figure out what exactly is useful for, especially like when you look at like big men, when you're trying to help them get better at dribbling, like where do you go? What's the best way to help them dribble? And my thing is they have to dribble and not necessarily with 2 basketballs. Like they have to dribble. They have to go down and they have to get all the awkwardness out. They have to get it. I always say dribbling is in the feet. And you can't really manipulate your feet as much when you're doing moves with 2 basketballs. So that's just my philosophy of it. I definitely don't feel strongly enough that you can't get it done the other way. But I feel strongly enough in what I believe that that's just how I am until my mind has changed.
I will agree, and then I'll stop talking about it with the standpoint of the best people that I've seen, and I'll even go more specific. Shout out to CJ Diaz. I don't know if you remember when we were at Columbia, and there was a kid who would go there to the gym every day, blindfold himself, put headphones on, and do possibly the most incredible 2-ball dribbling routine without losing the ball I've ever seen in my life. And then I would ask CJ, like, yo, what's his deal? He was like, he just does this. I was like, does he play? No, this is just what he does. But if you saw that, you would think he's like a Harlem Globetrotter. So how that happens, I don't know. But
I want to say I'll say our experience, Harry, when we were at St. Thomas, 2-ball like really made me more comfortable dribbling the basketball, and I felt like my handle got a lot better.
It worked for me too.
And I do agree that, you know, maybe like some form of like stop and start should be taught before that 2-ball stuff is taught, because I think learning how to do that is going to be more useful than learning two ball before you learn how to do that. So anyway, do you want to say where your
What's
three
your
rank?
deal with the
Kind of got
shot
off
fakes?
topic.
Yeah, so I really think closeouts are taught enough, but when you talk about spectrum, I actually think we overteach closeouts. I think closeouts are overtaught. I know we talked about this today earlier amongst ourselves, but the chopping of the feet, and it's just I just don't think, like, I personally don't know if I'll ever do a closeout drill ever again, like just for closing out. I just never it hardly looks that way in the game. If you play like pack line defense or something, then like I think then closeouts have to be like a huge part of what you do. So but I would say it's taught enough. Combo moves, I think it's severely overtaught. That you have to do something like this. I hate like I don't want to say hate, but I dislike how things are taught where it's just like boom, 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 this and this NBA player did this last night, and we're gonna work on this exact move. Like I don't get it. I can't stand it at all. So, and shout out to that guy. And he shot fakes. So I said this the other day, and I don't know if I said this to you guys too, but I think shot fakes are severely overtaught. Severely overtaught. Severely.
You have
overtaught.
a list where everything is overtaught?
I do, because I want to keep it spicy. I do. No, but and just before I start talking real long, just to get into it. I really think with shot fakes, I think shot fakes, especially the further you get away from the basket, are for average shooters or like good shooters. They're not for great shooters. I think great shooters should never shot fake, ever. I think if they shot fake, we should teach it on top of it with them shot faking and keeping a 3-of-3, right? Which is an advanced skill to say, or advanced concept, I would say, in today's game. But I think there's three separate things for a shooter to think about when somebody's closing out to them. Are they too far? If they're too far, you shoot it. No shot fake needed. Are they too close? If they're too close, no shot fake needed. As they're closing out, just drive by them. Shot fake is a waste of a count, I say, because as you're shot faking that's a count, you're still probably going to go by them, and it gives the help defense a half step to a step to get to you because of that shot fake, to rotate, right? And it should only be for average shooters or good shooters. I think a shot fake should only be is if you're unsure, you're catching the ball, you're unsure. Like somebody just has a good closeout, and a shot fake could give you like a read, and maybe you don't get anything and you just get rid of the ball. Or maybe you shot fake and somebody's overambitious, lifts up a little bit, and now you get your advantage. But for shooters, I don't think you need to shot fake when somebody's running at you hard. Don't shot fake. Just go right by them, or anybody. Don't shot fake at all. Just go right by, just rip and go right by them. So, and I just don't think when we're talking about not properly taught, I don't think people shot fake enough around the basket where they're more effective.
I disagree hard. I disagree. I think shot fake is the thing that draws the defense to you. Like I think the reason that they're closing out so hard is because they think you're gonna shoot.
Let me ask you this: you safe to say you were a shooter in the scouting report in college, right? So safe to say you've seen a lot of very hard closeouts, right? Do you think just catching and looking shot ready and widening your eyes would have the same effect as the ball going up 6 inches?
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
So then why do you need a shot fake?
I think that goes to properly taught then.
Yeah, I think there is a more efficient substitute.
But just because I catch and look at the rim and my eyes open doesn't mean that I should shoot the ball. You're saying that every time that situation is presented.
No. I'm not saying you should shoot it, but if you're in a position where that you think you need a shot fake and you're going to drive it because they're coming at you too hard, that I don't think you need to shot fake in that situation. I don't think you need to at all.
He's saying the eyes accomplish what the entire move is going to do anyway.
In less time.
Right.
I get what you're saying.
Right.
Something I think is really my fault. Go ahead.
No, I would say for like a teaching point I would have for Steve in college is, if somebody's running at you hard, shot fake. If they go flying by you, dribble to the side and shoot a three. That's fits Steve's game, right? Steve might have shot 10 free throws in your college career, right?
I think less.
Big free
Right,
throws
so-
at that mega game, though.
Big.
Huge.
What happened? You ran to the ball and they fouled you?
Let's not talk about how we got there.
How did I get there? I forget. You remember?
You drove at Winston Douglas.
Oh, yeah. Because I was
That's
trying
a
to dunk
poor
it.
decision. That's
I
a
was
poor
trying to dunk on
decision. What do you mean? He would have blocked it with his kneecap.
If you look at the clip, you can tell he was not even trying to take a layup. He was just like jumping and hoping that something got called.
And you got a foul?
Yeah, because
ice the game.
Yeah,
driving at Winston Douglas is top 5 dumbest things to do in your lifetime.
It was on like a break or like a broken play.
No, that's even worse because he talk about broken play. He broke the rim in my junior championship game. He broke the rim. The whole hoop came down.
Yeah, safe to say that it turned out to be a good decision. We won.
Can I just say one thing about shot fakes that I think is interesting? I don't know if you were with me. I was at a Columbia practice, and it was like built into the offense that when they caught the ball in like certain sets, that whoever catches the pass has to pump fake just for the sole purpose of buying time for cutters. And while I thought that was really interesting and like really cool because I'd never heard that before, I also would have loved to have kept up with that team and seen like, were guys jumping at those pump fakes, or did it sort of become like a scouted, hey, like they're all going to pump fake when they catch the ball? So, but I guess that creates a guessing game. So maybe it did work. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
I mean, Villanova shot fakes a lot, but it also plays off their catch to shoot philosophy. You never know when they're shooting, you know? So, I mean, I just see a lot of people shot faking when they could just rip it. Or a lot of people just shot faking because they can't shoot and they think the shot fake is going to create the advantage, you know?
I think there's a lot of different type of shot fakes, especially like in a catch and shoot, like even like I'm thinking of like Tyler Hero and Steph Curry both have useful shot fakes, but they're completely different. Like Steph Curry is more so going to draw more attention off what you're saying. And Tyler Hero, because he brings the ball to his head before he jumps, it's going to be like the more traditional looking shot fake, but they're both useful. I think like Michael Jordan's shot fake, where it's just one hand, that he's not shooting with one hand, but that shit is useful. So I think there's a ton of different, like even with Kawhi or whatever, there's a ton of different ways to shot fake. And I think that, but I think that they can all be accomplished like with just looking at the rim with eyes. But anyway, my 3, let's do this real quick because we're almost out of time. My 3 are same hand, same foot layups, 1-2 footwork when you shoot, and post moves.
On a catch and shoot or off the dribble?
Yeah, 1-2, like inside, outside, catch and shoot.
All right.
Wow. You want to go Harry, or are you still thinking?
Well, I'm going to go with my second was it my second or third pick in the fundamental draft? I don't even remember, but I'm going to put post moves as undertaught because from a guard standpoint, I'm pretty sure we've talked about it on multiple podcasts. Like guards need to be learning how to post up and play with their back to defenders, period. Rarely ever see that. Ever see that, especially at like a younger age. That's usually even something like me. I'm victim to that. Granted, I've only worked out for the most part, like older guys, but the first thing I do when I take a younger kid is not teach them how to post up. So maybe that's just a product of there might be more important things for that kid to learn. But either way, kids don't learn that enough.
Can I make a comment on that? Can I make a comment on that? I don't know. I just think it's the nature of, and you guys were training and not necessarily in the training business, right? But I think that's the nature of the training business because if I'm a new trainer and I'm making money off this, and I'm trying to make this a business, I'm not taking a 5th grade kid who is a guard and parents want them to be a Division I point guard and then have them in the workout doing post-ups, because parents are not going to understand that and they're never going to come back.
But if I showed them Jalen Brunson, maybe they would shut up.
They don't give a shit about Jalen Brunson. They give a shit about Steph Curry.
Yes.
Good answer. I'll shut up. And then continuing on with that, from the big man standpoint, you even look at workout videos of like big men at the highest level, and the whole workout is just dunking. Guys don't actually have post games. They don't know how to like operate down there. They just know how to catch the ball and finish strong. And some of them aren't even good at that. So then at that point, what are you? You can't really play basketball in 2020. Then your other two are. I'm gonna say same hand, same foot layups are taught enough. I'm gonna say those are taught enough, and I'm gonna say 1-2 footwork is overtaught from the standpoint of shooters are kind of proving now that catching on a hop is just the superior thing to do from a consistency standpoint, from a quickness, getting your shot off and your feet ready standpoint, and from a balance standpoint. It's like I feel like the 1-2 should really almost only be reserved for like one dribble pull-ups, or maybe if you have to like get away catching the ball off a pin down. But even Ray Allen used to catch it and then jump away, and JJ Redick does that as well. So I don't know. I think the hop is really just a better thing to do than 1-2.
So I'm gonna start with 1-2 footwork because that was your last point, and I'm gonna say it's taught
Mhm.
enough. I think it's very integral, especially when you're talking about the base of a kid's game. And when I think we need to be careful when we're talking about a new skill in the game, and we're talking about the elite of the elite doing that skill, because not just because all right, Ray Allen is obviously a really good shooter and JJ Redick is a really good shooter at the highest level, but because when they walk into the gym to work out, they're not doing combo moves. They're not doing pick and rolls. They're literally just working on different ways to be more effective at shooting. So even though like somebody like Brandon Ingram, who's an all-around scorer, and somebody like JJ Redick, they both need to learn how to shoot, but Brandon Ingram doesn't need to be as experimental with how he comes off a pin down because he has way more options than JJ Redick. So I that's why I think 1-2 it's taught enough. I was kind of feeling like it's I wouldn't say that I definitely wouldn't say it's overtaught, but it's possibly undertaught because there's so many options out there to shoot differently, and kids are exposed to them, but they don't understand like how many times are you coming off a pin down? Like, do you even have pin downs in how you play? So like, why does it matter how you shoot like that? You know what I mean? Like, my biggest thing is trying to teach the kid the way to do something after if you don't have a shot. So what's the most comfortable way for you to get out of that footwork? And then my thought process is driven by the fact that I coach college and that refereeing is always behind the new trends in basketball. So I'm always very, very, I'm very cautious about, oh, okay, I've seen this and it's not a travel, and teaching this to the kids that they're going to use and then arguing with the refs the whole game about how it's not a travel. Now you spend all this time with them doing it and they're going to keep calling it a travel. And now kids are looking at you because they do it all the time.
No. A hop is not a properly done hop is not a travel. If it gets
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But if you hop and now you can't shoot it and you got to, most kids split their feet afterwards and it might look weird to a ref and they might call travel. And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but it's just the truth. And I had a ref, right? My first year, we used to warm up doing jump stops for like 6 to 8 minutes in our warm up, right? We would do jump stops. And I'm in the locker room, and then one of my assistant coaches walked in, and this was the second game of the season. And he said, yo, the ref said he's seen him doing jump stops, and he's going to call that a travel. And I was like, what? This is 20 minutes before the game. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, or the kid's landing on 2 feet? He's like, yes. He's like, he's watching him. He said, yo, he's going to call it a travel. Sure enough, Adiola Tunji gets a fast break, jump stops, lands on 2 feet. The ref calls it a travel. And I grabbed the ref. I said, what? He said, that is not a legal basketball move. That's what he told me. So for that one game of the season, depending on where that ref was, jump stops were toggled off. We cannot jump stop because
we need to have a ref podcast.
The ref just didn't feel like it was a legal move. And I've heard that with Euro steps. I heard that. And the biggest thing I'm getting on a tangent with refereeing is that every time in the post, kids catch the ball in the post and they lift their pivot foot almost every single time, and refs never call it. They never call it. It's just stuff that is just like generally happens in the game, and it's just all right. Like that's technically a travel, but we're not going to call that. But a good Euro is you can't do the James Harden Euro where it looks like 3 steps because the refs are calling that in college. So, I don't think the refs they're trained on new stuff, and I watch a ref video every year, and I think they do a great job, but it's more on like team stuff. It's on like flopping and extending the arms and all that stuff. It's less on like the new skill stuff that all these TikTok trainers are teaching. So I don't want to go on a tangent. Same hand, same foot. I'm going to go with Overtaught. And here's why. And I'm glad Steve made that distinction earlier about not being taught well enough. I love that the skill is being taught. I think it's very necessary, especially for Smurfs. I think it's very necessary. But I don't think people understand that most of the time you have to do it with some pace for it to be effective. I think they just have the skill of dribbling and going off the same foot on the hand scoop or whatever. But they don't understand that the more pace that you have with it, the more hesitation, it's more of a surprise layup. So that's a lot. Like I can see kids do it in a skill situation, just working on it, but not really applying it in the best of ways. And I wish I could go through every single basket that we had last year and had scored against us, and to show you that it just doesn't occur that much because people don't slow themselves down. So for as much as I'm seeing it being used, and we practice it as well, it's just people don't slow themselves down to kind of and use their eyes against the shot blocker or the help and then just explode up. People don't have that craftiness or that feel to use it. So I think it's overtaught because I don't think it's properly taught. And post moves, I think it's undertaught for all the reasons that Harry said. I totally agree.
So all 3 of yours were overtaught and all 3 of mine are undertaught, I feel. I think especially with like 1-2 shooting, I feel like that is the foundation for if we're not talking about like split catches, but like if you're on the move, I think that 1-2 shooting is the foundation of is the foundation layer that you need to lay to then go into like split catches and things like that. But I think it's so important to learn that, and that even though I came from Monsignor Farrell where Coach Fisher, we would do 1-2 footwork shooting all the time, but training kids, I feel like that is one thing that is undertaught. Kids really don't feel comfortable with that. Same hand, same foot. I think that you talked about how the feel comes first, but I think that same hand, same foot gives kids feel because kids are so caught up in the rhythm of right, left hand, right foot layups. They feel like that has to be the end to everything they do before that. So if that isn't the end, and the end is more like whatever they can get to, which could be same hand, same foot, that could give a kid a little more freedom going to the rim. And obviously post moves for guards, I feel, is something that's useful all over the court. But I think that we should wrap it up there. We talked about a lot of stuff, but stay tuned. What episode is this? 3?
3.
All right, stay tuned for
We said it, y'all home, didn't
it? Stay tuned for episode 4. Finna order this pizza, and we out.